there's really three things that if you do, you're guaranteed 100% to be successful with an agency, with your marketing agency. And I'm not just saying you in particular. I mean, anyone that's been successful did these three things. Okay. So this is actually a VSL that I'm putting together. It's a video that I'm putting together. And what I want to share with you is these three things, because some of the information I'm going to share with you is kind of some of the information that I'm putting together in this new program is going to be updated. It's not in the program that you're taking. This is why I kind of want to share this with you. But there's really three things, bro. There's three things that will make you successful with an agency. These three things, anyone that's been successful with an agency does them. Okay, you can't not do these three things and be successful. It's almost like you can't stay alive if you don't breathe. That's literally what this is right here. And this is to kind of frame it. It's really thinking about it from first principles thinking. So Elon Musk, for example, he just did an interview and someone asked him, someone that is building a car company, like we haven't had a car company in the last 80 years, someone trying to build a car company, right? And you're doing this, and all these brands, if you combine all of the car brands together, they don't even come close to the market cap of Tesla. So Tesla is worth more than every single car brand put together, right? On top of that, this guy's trying to colonize Mars. So the guy was like, how does someone trying to do all this think about complex problem? And he basically replied that I try to approach anything that I am working on from first principle thinking, right? And I was like, okay, well, what is first principle thinking? It's basically the idea of breaking down complicated problems into basic elements and then reassembling them from the ground up. So you basically dissect everything to its basic fundamentals, and then you build backwards, essentially working backwards. So I asked myself, how do we do this for, a marketing agency? And when I thought about it, it really came down to three things. These are the three things, thinking from a first principle reasoning. These are the three things to be successful with an agency. Thing one is you need to find, pitch, and close clients. Okay, so find the client, pitch the client, and close them. That's the first thing to be successful. The second thing is you got to get those clients great results. Okay, so that's thing two. Now, thing three is you have to build SOPs around thing one and two to make it run efficient and effective. So what we mean here for thing three is that, great, if you can do these two things, you have to do it in a predictable way, and you have to make it efficient, and it has to run like a well-oiled machine. This is how you achieve optimal productivity. Okay. Now, I can tell you that with the program that we're putting together, all of these three are solved. So without a fact, like the only reason someone wouldn't be successful with an agency if they follow this advice is that they give up too soon. That's the only way. What do I mean by that? What I mean here is that, for example, yourself, you want to, go into home improvement, and you have this, client who's willing to pay you. So now what you got to do, you already solved thing one for this client in particular, right? You find the client, you pitched him, and eventually, I'm not sure yet, but looks like he's going to work with you and pay you to do it. Okay, so you figured out thing one. Now thing two is you got to get them results. Mm-hmm. Well, how are you going to get them results? Well, you're going to get them results because I don't know, and I want to ask you this in a bit. I don't know if you're going to run the ads yourself, but if you don't run the ads yourself, we're going to find a media buyer for you. Okay, preferably someone who is in the who has run ads and has been successful running ads for the niche that you're in, okay, which in this case is home improvement. Okay, so we would go through this media buyer list and we would contact these people and figure out who's the best person to put in your agency to actually run these ads on your behalf. And as you can see here, this is just a list of 300 media buyers. Okay, we would get on a call with these people, interview them, make sure they're the right fit. But that's how you solve thing two right here. Okay. That's how you solve thing two, is you get them good results. And if you don't know how to get them great results, that's the cool thing about this, is that we can hire someone for, very little to get them the results. And then thing three is very simple. This is the simplest one. How are you going to, make sure 1 and 2 runs effectively? Well, you're going to go through the course material. You're going to make sure you understand everything from A to Z. You're going to get on these calls every week and ask any question you may have. How can I do this better? I'm having an issue here. I have an issue. Like, how can I make this better? Right. This is how you solve this right here. Is basically by leveraging the help that you have, whether that's in the form of the content that we provide or the actual weekly calls like we have here. Okay. So I wanted to go over this, bro, because this is something that I just put together over the past 3 days. And I wanted to share this with you, especially now that, we're on this call and you're mentioning your client. If you can do these three, bro, it's inevitable that you're going to succeed. Now, maybe it might not be this client, maybe not, it might be the next, whatever the case may be, but these are the three things that is going to get you to succeed. What's cool is you already did this one right here, assuming that you can get him to work with you. Then the only other thing would be to get them results. Now, this is giving you a bird's eye overview. Again, we're thinking from first principle thinking. Now that we understand like the fundamentals, okay, there's the answers are between the lines. So, finding the client, like how can you do this over and over again? This is where we would go on teaching you how to actually find clients and pitch them, how to actually close them on sales call, and then how to get them results, right? Going through and figuring out who's the best media buyer. And then over here, going through the course material. So these three are just kind of giving us an overview. And I kind of want to share that with you. But now that I've shared that, I'm curious, are you going to have hire a media buyer, or have you ran ads before? Like, how does that look like? I don't think I've asked you about media buying before.
Yeah. No, man, I wanted to run ads for myself, but it was kind of a challenge just learning everything. So my opinion is better to just hire out through a media buyer.
Sweet. Okay, great. Then we could definitely work on that. We'll figure out by the end of this call when that is, when you would like to get someone hired, and I could, we can go over how you would pay them. You could either pay them upfront, you could pay them like how I pay my media buyer, which is once they get results. So my media buyer gets paid a percentage of the revenue that the agency generates. But ideally, like long term, that's not the best thing, even though for me, I honestly don't care, because long term it's not good, because you're going to pay your media buyer more than you're supposed to. So for example, AJ in November of 2022, when we did $115,000, that guy got paid $10,500. Okay, which is for a media buyer in India, like that's insane. Like 2,000 is like a great salary for a great media buyer. But for me, like, I don't care, because like I'm incentivizing him to get good results. This is, being like a leader, you want to incentivize your people to do great. Now, starting out, it's probably best that you don't pay a percentage of revenue. The only reason I would say do a percentage of revenue is if you are tight on cash. But assuming, let's say this client pays you, $2,000, or $1,000, or whatever the case may be, you can pay a portion of that to the media buyer, and then so on and so forth moving forward. And one media buyer can handle